Hey everybody, doing a 2019 Silverado. We're going to be doing an engine on this today. I didn't find much on the internet, so I thought I'd do a video. The very first thing I start with is obviously pulling the air box, disconnect the battery, and then the very first thing I do before I get started on anything is I spray down all of my exhaust bolts. I don't know if you can see it back there, but I already lubed everything up back there for the manifolds, and we got the wheels off so we can drop it all the way down, make it easier to work on. If you're doing that in your driveway, you can definitely drop the front wheels down and make things a lot easier to get to in the engine bay. We're going to go after draining the coolant. There is a small right down in that area, right next to the lower hose, there is the drain valve for the radiator. Then you got these two coolant lines right here for the water pump. Okay, you got the upper and lower radiator hose, and that's it for coolant wise. You got these little tiny lines here that feed. Oh, what do you call those? They let all the bubbles out. That's what they call it. Steam vent, thank you. Came to my mind just momentarily there. So yeah, you got the steam vent. You got the two heater core lines that go down to the side. You got your upper and lower hose. We're going to pull the belts. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the water pump and the harmonic balancer, the crank pulley, just to give me all that extra room on the front of the engine, because from here, from the core support to the firewall there, the cowling, is not very much room. So we're probably going to have to get this engine up, spin it around, and the other thing we're going to have to do to get this out is we're going to have to pull the intake. There's just not enough room to clearance the cowling there to get it up out of the motor mounts. So we're going to be pulling the intake. The other thing I had to do was that I don't know if you can see it from here, but the other thing I had to do is I pulled the fender liners. Okay, there are a bunch of T15 bolts. Okay, we got T15 on those, all the fender liner bolts. But it makes it easier to get into the sidewell here for doing getting the exhaust manifold bolts, as the flange, as well as the motor mount bolts. There's three 15mm bolts. They live right down in there. Let's see if we can get you in there. Okay, so there's one of them, but there's three of them. There's one on either side that's lower. Okay, and then you got the one on top. And that's the one on top. And you got one on either side that's lower. Okay, so those three bolts free up the whole engine mount. And then you got the three 15mm bolts for the exhaust flange down here. Those are very difficult to get off sometimes. I've broken many in my career. So take your time, apply heat, lubricant, penetration fluid, whatever. Take your time, keep going. If it gets tough coming off, once you crack it loose, go back on, spray some more lube, apply more heat, and try and get it off without breaking it. If you end up breaking those, you're just never going to get it out of the hole, and you end up drilling the hole out and putting a nut and bolt there. Not the greatest thing, but it does work. So just a lot of work, because it's very difficult to drill that cast flange, and that bolt has been work hardened so much that very few drill bits will go through it. So and we're going to access our starter from right here. We got all our starter bolts right down here. We're going to disconnect all our electrical, get that out of there so we can get the converter bolts. Okay, so underneath here, we dropped the steering rack and we dropped the differential. Okay, the differential is just a couple of, let me get some light here. There you go. The differential is a couple of 18 millimeter nuts, and on the top side it's a 15 millimeter head on the bolt. Here's my socket. Dropped that earlier. And on the steering rack you got one 18 millimeter bolt in the hole, another up top here right behind this wiring harness, and then you got two 24 millimeter bolts over here, and that just drops down, and that's going to give you all the clearance you need to get that oil pan cleared. Over on this side I took the two 18 millimeter bolts, 18 or 15, I forget, let's see. These ones, those are 18. Okay, so 18 millimeter bolts on those, and that just drops the differential down, because you're going to need that clearance to get this oil pan clear of that housing there. So remember, we don't have much room up top. Alright, 2019 Chevy Silverado, Pullman engine. Finally got it out. What you're going to have to do for this is you're going to have to pull the radiator. And it's clipped into the goddamn condenser. So you're going to have a lot of trouble if you don't get this sucked down. I recommend you go take it to a body shop, because they'll have the newer machine for the 1234. Take it to a body shop and have them suck it down, and then record how much Freon they pulled out, because it's very expensive. It's like $30 a gram. So make sure you get some of that. Make sure you get that documented. Down here we have the transmission. I just tied a block around the sway bar, and that way the transmission can sit on it while I do my work. I do have to raise it up a little bit to get the engine mated, and drop it down into the motor mounts. These are the 3 bolts for the mounts on either side. There's one up top and one on either side there. That's the best way to pull them out. It's easy. Make sure you get a new crush gasket for your exhaust over there. They tend to leak if you don't. And make sure that all your mating surface around the bell housing is nice and clean, so that you don't have any electrical ground issues from the transmission, because there is no ground for the transmission except through the bell housing. If you get an engine and it's painted, there we go. If you get an engine and it's all painted up like this, you go around and you clean that mating surface there. You want it nice and shiny metal so that it gets a good ground contact. You don't want any ground issues with solenoid shifting issues. It'll do really weird stuff. And then I always grease up my locating dowels. I use anti-seize, and then of course before you go back in, use your anti-seize on your studs, and you should be good. To get the radiator separated, I had to pull this top piece out. There's 3 bolts on either side from underneath that you can get with a 10 millimeter speedy wrench to get this off. And then it's a little tricky getting the condenser separated from the radiator if you don't have a machine like I didn't. And you got to pull the tabs out of the radiator. There's a little locking mechanism on it, and they're just supposed to slide right up. A couple of these lines, like down here, there's a bracket that bolts to the radiator. You have to get 10 millimeter on that. And some of these side lines were like clipped in, so you just got to pop them out and carefully, and then you slide it up out of these little lock holders. There's one on the bottom. The bottom one doesn't have a lock. The top one does. And also to get this out, I had to drop the differential. I didn't remove it. I just took the bolts out of it, dropped it down. That gave me enough clearance, and then as well as the steering rack. That was a little fun there. So I just let them sit down there in the frame, and that gives me enough room to get everything out. It's a little tight over the differential there, but it's very doable. Just gotta be patient and work it in.